What's up YouTube, Brian here, back again with another video, and today we are outside, we're in the boat. I apologize if there's going to be a little noise of cars going by, whatnot, but I'm outside. And we're in the boat, and today we are going to talk exclusively about Active Target. So I put Active Target on my boat this season, and I'm going to talk about how I have it rigged up. I'm going to show you my setup, and then I'm going to give some overall thoughts and opinions about Active Target in general. So if you are thinking about buying it or you own it, and you just want to hear someone else talk about it who's not a professional, who's not sponsored by Lowrance. I don't have a $70,000 boat with 17 displays. My boat is very modest. So here, let me show you. So I have a 19-foot Skeeter. It's a 2002 SX190. And my electronic system has kind of evolved over the years, but let's go up to the bow. So I'm running a Minn Kota Ultrex. This is a 36 volt with the long shaft. I fish a lot offshore, so I went with the longer shaft. I really love it. My Active Target is mounted here. I also have Hydrowave and a 2D sonar puck, which is completely and utterly useless. All summer I've not used the 2D sonar puck at all, and in fact, this off season I might remove it, and I might remove the Hydrowave. I'll maybe talk about that later, but Hydrowaves are complete and utter bullshit, totally useless. So I got all three of these wires are running up the shaft. I got it going down through a troll. Let's see, this is a troll jacket. So the troll jacket makes an XL version instead of using the TH Marine jacket or whatever else. I'm using the troll, the motor sock. Sorry, why do I keep saying that? This is the motor sock XL wrap, so that fits all three of those cables. I am running my Active Target to a Lowrance HDS 9 live. I don't have a 12 up here. I don't think I need a 12. I got a really great deal on the 9, and so far the 9 has been extremely sufficient for my active targeting. So this is literally just running Active Target. I don't do anything else on this unit. Next to it I have an HDS 7 Carbon, and this is maps. So I always have this on a map. I have this on Active Target. I feel that to be really effective, you need a map and your sonar up front. If I'm running just the Active Target and I don't have the map, I feel that I'm going to be way less effective. So I really just use this for mapping. And also this unit does double duty for ice fishing for me, so that's why I'm sticking with an HDS 7 for mapping, because I pop this unit off and I throw it in a bag and I use it for ice fishing in the winter. So that's sticking around. So I have these both wired through the front here. They're both on one single power line with fuses. So I have these on their own independent run with the transducer. So I have the cables going back here. So I have my Active Target box, which actually doesn't take up that much room, sitting in the back corner. So I have everything wired to the box. I have the box and the units on their own power. And then at the console, I have the HDS 12 live, which is my main unit. So I have the HDS 9 live, the 12, and the Carbon 7. All of them are networked using Lowrance's Ethernet cables. The data sharing between them all is very good. The boot up time is a little slow when you fire them all up and they all start talking and sharing waypoints and maps. There's a good warm-up period, but once everything is loaded and they're working, you just leave them on all day and they're great. So I'll give you an example of what the wiring looks like. So I have two. So the white wires are the main power wires going from the units up front and the HDS 12 back to the battery. Now, I had my buddy Josh help me wire these up. Each one of them has an independent fuse and they have their own power. So I'm not sharing the power lines between the Active Target setup and my HDS 12. That gives everything a really clear signal. I have literally no problems with the clarity on this unit when you run your own independent power for the Active Target stuff. So keep it on its own power. You're going to be great. Now, I didn't buy a harness. Like the Sea Clear Power harnesses are completely overpriced. You can get this wiring, the connectors, and the fuses off of Amazon for like, I don't know, less than 50 bucks instead of paying like $250 for that Sea Clear Power bullshit. So if you're not mechanically inclined and you don't like wiring, sure, go and pay way too much money for a Sea Clear Power harness. But if you are remotely handy, you can make your own wiring setup for fractions of the cost. So all of this is going back to my battery box. I'm sorry, back to a single. This is the only Achilles heel in my setup, is I need a better battery. So I have both of the wires. So this one is for everything up front, an active target. One of these is for the HDS Live. I have everything going to a master cutoff switch. So both of these are just going to this cutoff. And so when I'm going to use, when I'm done fishing for the day, I want to turn all the units and the active target off all together. I flip that off. And when I'm ready to go fishing, I flip it on. So I got everything going through a master cutoff switch. This is a cheap, I mean, this is just your typical master cutoff switch. You can get these from anywhere. They're like RV places, marine places, Amazon, whatever. Nothing special. I'm running an interstate cranking battery. Now, realistically, I can get a full day of using active target and my units, but one day. Like if I'm using them really hard, I can go 9 to 10 hours and I'm not going to start experiencing battery issues. But if I don't get a full recharge going into the next day, things are gonna run out. So in the future, I'm gonna put a bigger cranking battery. So that one battery hosts all of my live wells, my units, cranking, radio, phone charger. So much stuff is running off that one battery. I do need to do a significant battery upgrade next year. It's on the plan. So back in the corner, I have my 3 batteries for my trolling motor, my 1 battery for basically everything else. My trolling motor battery setup is great. I can get an entire weekend on the batteries with the trolling motor, but that goes, if I'm really working at active target hard, that goes about 1 full day, maybe 9, 10 hours tops. I found that the tricks are to save battery is to sleep your units. So if I'm using HDS 12 and I'm not sitting at the console, I will put it in standby. That helps lower the battery use. So, you know, and when I'm not up front, when I'm not on the bow, I sleep those units and I go to the back. So just, you know, putting your units into standby mode is really going to help conserve your battery. So let's talk about the active target as a product. So, let's get this, sorry, let me get myself in frame here. So, active target, do I like it? Yes. So, active target, when you're fishing lakes that are natural and have no grass. So when I'm smallmouth fishing or walleye fishing or pan fishing and I'm out in Wisconsin on like natural glacial lakes that have not much grass but a lot of rock and there's open water fish like smallmouth, the active target is literally amazing. I have had fishing days where 80% of my fish I caught that I saw. You can use active target to like get up on a reef or get along a sandbar or go around some docks and actually just scan and see if there's fish. I've saved so much time smallmouth fishing with the active target where I pull up on a point or a reef or something and I scan around, I see no bait, I see no fish, I see no decent marks, I leave. So I'll say if you don't get to get out fishing a lot and you want to make the most effective use of your time on the water, active target can really help you eliminate spots that suck. Also, it helps you see how fish react to bait. So I'll be out smallmouth fishing and I'll spot a group of them. I'll flip a Ned rig in or I'll flip a drop shot in or I'll flip a football jig in and I get to see how those fish react. If you drop something in front of them and they don't move, they're not interested. If you drop something in front of them and they rush over to check it out, they're interested, but they might not bite. And then sometimes I flip a bait in and I see like the bait will come spiraling down. I'll see a fish kind of run up, grab it, and I know that there's probably a fish on that. And I reel down and sure enough, there it is. The bait didn't even hit the water, or didn't even hit the bottom, and a fish ate it. So I will say active target is amazing if you're open water fishing, you're fishing for fish that aren't in cover, like smallmouth, walleye, crappies, that kind of stuff, muskie, pike, those kinds of things. But here's the thing, when I'm fishing largemouth and we're fishing grass and we're fishing shallow and we're flipping, we're frogging, we're dock skipping, all of that stuff where we're fishing grass here in Minnesota and in Wisconsin, the active target is not that useful. So if you're a shallow water fisherman, you're fishing in a lot of like 7 to less, like 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2 feet of water, the active target isn't going to help you. The active target is most effective in 7+ feet. It's really effective in 10 to 15 and great in like 20 to 30 foot of water. The deeper you go, the better the active target return comes back. So if you're an offshore fisherman and you're fishing a lot of deep structure, the active target is amazing. If you're a shallow person and you're just flipping and punching and frogging and Texas rigging around grass, the active target will not really help you catch fish. It'll help you find the grass lines. So when I'm fishing grass lines with the active target, I've noticed that I've been picking up all of the panfish and the bluegill and all the stuff that kind of hangs around the edges. It's hard to tell what's bass. So I'll come around and say, I'll come along a grass line and I'll see a bunch of marks. I'm like, oh, those marks look pretty good. And you flip in there and they don't bite or they nibble and it's like, oh, it's bluegills or, oh, it's crappies. Detecting bass versus panfish in grass is very difficult. I'm not good at it. If you're fishing offshore, you're fishing rocks or smaller, like where the grass is like this tall and then you can see the fish on top of it, it comes in handy. So I'll say if you're a shallow water person and your bread and butter is flipping, active target, no point in buying it for you. You're not going to need it. Or if you're a hardcore dock fisherman, not going to need it. So I guess my point is the kind of waters you fish is really going to determine your enjoyment of the active target. It's going to be not a tool that's going to fit every scenario. If you're fishing in 5 foot of water, it sucks. Even when you flip it into perspective mode and you do the panning out, if you're really shallow, it's just going to come back with a lot of noise. You're not going to be able to tell what's in front of you. So really, like I said, realistically, active target is amazing in like 8+ feet. Not so great shallow, pretty useless to be honest. I have a lot of largemouth tournaments that I fish during the summer, and I will tell you that the active target basically didn't help me win or do anything in any tournaments that I wouldn't have normally done. So, but when I go out smallmouth fishing on big glacial lakes, it's amazing. So I will say that I'm very happy with my purchase and just how many smallmouth the active target has put in my boat this year. Is it a game changer for bass fishing tournaments? No. Is it a game changer for shallow bass fishing and fishing largemouth out of like milfoil or coontail or heavy cover, mats, reeds, that kind of stuff? Nope. I mean, all this stuff should be kind of obvious to you at this point, but I will say though, if you're a smallmouth angler, you're a crappie angler, you're a walleye angler, it is an amazing tool, worth every penny. This past weekend I was fishing a smallmouth lake, and I will literally say that I didn't catch very many fish that I didn't see. And what helped me find was groups of fish. It helped me find what the fish were feeding on. So I went along a sandbar and I saw that smallmouth were pooling and pushing bait together, and then they were hitting that bait. So I knew that the fish were kind of off the bottom and they were actually chasing schooling fish. And I switched my techniques and I started catching fish out of that school. Normally instead of dragging a football jig, I started throwing stuff at them that had a slow fall so they could pick it up and track it while they were in that hunt mode. So that information helped me catch more fish that day, and that is 100% due to the active target. So I will say it's a great tool. I'm using it all the time now, and I actually just kind of use it for checking my depth. Like I don't even run the 2D sonar pucks anymore. I just look at my depth down at active target. I will say there's a giant learning curve to understanding what you're seeing on the active target. So as you use it for months and months, you understand what fish, what's bait, what's grass, what's rocks. It takes a little bit to like learn what you're looking at because it is a different way of presenting information. I will say one thing I like with the Lowrance unit versus the Garmin is the cone on the Lowrance unit is thinner. So you're seeing less things when you're panning. Now, most people are like, oh, a thinner cone, that's maybe not as good because the Garmin, the cone is wider. So on live scope, it's a wider cone, so you see more things. I have found that with that narrow cone, when you're target casting at fish you're seeing on the active target, you know when you make that cast and you see that bait coming down the fish, you know you're right on them because you know that the cone is narrow. So when you drop that drop shot or the Ned rig or a jig or a Senko or something on that fish and you see the bait coming down by the fish, you know that you're in that tight area and that fish is likely going to see that bait unless they're facing the other direction, obviously. But so my point is, I thought that the narrow cone on the Lowrance was going to be a negative, but in my opinion, it's actually a positive because it makes you be way more accurate with your presentations to fish. Fishing moving baits on the active target is cool because you can see if you have followers. So I'll throw out a crankbait, or I'll throw out a spinnerbait, or I'll throw out a jackhammer, and as you're bringing that bait back in through cover, you can pivot the active target to see that bait coming in, and you can see if any fish are tracking it. And if fish aren't tracking it and we're getting close to the boat, I'm just bringing it back up and making another cast. So like I said, the Lowrance Active Target, or any forward-facing sonar in general, just really helps you become a more efficient angler on the water. Now, I'm a dad, I work a full-time job, I don't have a ton of time to get out on the water. So when I get out on the water, and if I can use that time more effectively, that's worth it to me, because I'm gonna spend less time making blind casts at certain reefs or areas that don't have any fish, but I didn't know that before. So like we were breaking down a new lake up in northern Minnesota a couple weeks ago, and we would pull up on spots, and I'd hit this reef. It looked really good on the map. We get up there, big rocks, everything. I get on there and just start running around with the active target, and I found out that, hey, there's no fish here. There's not bait, there's nothing. Nobody's home. And so, you know what? We just went to the next reef. And then once we got up on a reef or a rocky point or something that had fish, boom, we stopped and started making casts, and we would catch fish. So like I said, effective use of time, great for open water fishing, great for rock and structure fishing, great for deep presentations, great for seeing how baits and things make fish react. And then also it helps you really understand your cover, like where things are, where's a big rock, where's a small rock, where's the grass line. You know, orientating yourself where you're fishing really helps with the active target. So overall, was it worth $1,500? Hell yes. I've had a blast using it. I am not sponsored. I paid for it like everybody else. I've been running Lowrance for years on my stuff, so I'm just used to it. So that's why I didn't do the Garmin thing when it came out, because I figured Lowrance was going to come out with one sooner or later, and so I was just going to wait. I'm glad I did. It's been amazing. But if you're my biggest point is, if you're a shallow water largemouth fisherman who's flipping jigs, fishing in 5 feet or less, don't buy it. You're not going to get your enjoyment out of it. It's not the right tool for that job. It's the right tool for many other jobs, but for shallow grass fishing, or that kind of stuff, for bass, largemouth, it's not going to be a game changer for you. So anyway, those are my overall thoughts and opinions on the active target, and just walk through a little bit of my setup. If you have any questions about it, please drop in the comments. I have been using the active target all summer. This is not something I got a week ago. I have been using it for 3 to 4 months now, so I have a lot of seat time with it, and I have to give it, as a product review, I give it a complete and utter thumbs up. It's been great. I probably am going to never not use it, especially in smallmouth fishing. So anyway, that's my video. Thanks for watching. If you made it this far, please hit like and subscribe, and I will see you all next time. Thanks for watching.